Welcome to the Ottawa Experts. I'm Alfonso Quadra. We have an amazing show for you this evening. December 31st, did you do your New Year's resolutions? Well, we're going to show you how to keep those New Year's resolutions. And we have some great experts. The number to call is 613-728-1001, 613-728-1001. The lines are open. We're talking about how to keep your New Year's resolutions. We have some experts. Luke Michael Howard, Ph.D., clinical hypnosis. He helps people get out of their own way. Dominique Baker, she's a Ottawa-based blogger and wrote an amazing piece on New Year's resolutions. Later on, we have Natalie Riviere. She's registered holistic nutritionist and fitness expert. We have a great show. Guys, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having us.
I think it's going to be very exciting. I like to start with stories. So how did you get involved in hypnosis?
Oh, it's a long story, but the short version of it is when I was a kid, I was very messed up. I had every kind of problem you can imagine. I was obese, suicidal, agoraphobic. I had every kind of therapy and I was still broken. And then one day I bought this little audio cassette. It was back before really CDs and MP3s, and it was called Supreme Self-Confidence. And I listened to that silly audio cassette that was generic every day for 3 months, and it changed my life. And I'm like, if there's something to this generic tape, there's something to this hypnosis stuff. And I spent the next 21 years traveling around the world, learning from the best people I could on how to get drastic change in people.
Wow! So now this is what you do. You're
This is all I've ever done, really, since I was 16. I'm now 38. This is pretty much all I've ever done.
Okay. And you, how did you become Ottawa's #1? I guess it's international. Your blog.
Yeah, I've done some travel with the blogging. It's been a total thrill ride. My husband travels a lot for work, and he suggested that I start a fashion and beauty blog because I love fashion and beauty, and it took off, and I'm really happy with the direction it's going.
And so it started with fashion, but then you started to write about other things. For example, you were talking about the blog you had about your New Year's resolutions.
That's right. People really like lifestyle pieces, especially self-care and self-improvement have been on the forefront in the media. So I myself am very interested in self-improvement, especially self-care. The world's a pretty turbulent place these days, so taking care of yourself and your own mental health is really important.
So I really like that. It looks like it's going to be a great show. The number to call is 613-728-1001, 728-1001. Call at any time. Ask our experts some questions. Now, our New Year's resolutions, is that a positive thing or a negative thing? Because some people say, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. Most people, they do New Year's resolutions and they don't follow through. Is that positive or negative? Are we doing something positive for society, or is it holding us back?
It's bad because it puts too much pressure on people. Like, you know what, I'll live my life a certain way, I'll eat too much, I'll engage in too much bad activities, but when January 1st comes, I'm going to change over my life. I'm going to flip that switch. And then January 1st comes and people have got this head of steam, they're really pumped up, but they put all this frigging pressure on themselves that a couple of days in, or statistically, by January 21st, 97% of people broke all their New Year's resolutions. So I'm like, why wait till New Year? Start now.
Yeah, so I believe in New Year's resolutions. In fact, I do them every 3 months.
There you go.
What about you?
So I agree. And to build on that, people approach them the wrong way. So you shouldn't be waiting until January 1st to make positive changes in your life. And people also set resolutions or goals that don't really make them happy. In order to keep your resolutions and be successful, you need to sit and think about what changes you can make in your life that will truly improve your life, yourself, and make you happy in the long run. Instead of, you're a chocolate lover. You've been indulging in chocolate your whole life, 20, 30, 40 years, and on January 1st, you're going to cut that out. That's just not feasible.
Yeah.
So everything in moderation.
Yeah. So what is it about people that they just can't stick with it? What is it about people that, they overindulge during the holidays and, January 1st, I'm going to be at the gym. And we can go to any gym across the world, January 1st, January 2nd, packed. Today is January 10th. I'm sure those numbers are dwindling down. So what is it with people? Like, are we just like crazy or?
Well, how people change, right? They change for one of two reasons. Either they have a huge amount of pain in their life that they're like, I can't spend another day living this kind of life, or they link a tremendous amount of pleasure to where they want to go. And most people live in a world where I call no man or no woman's land, where there's not quite enough consistent pain for them to change consistently, but they aren't quite getting the glory and joy that they want in their life. So they're kind of in the middle. They're comfortable, but they're not where they know that they should be. It's a tendency, you've heard the phrase, people only change when they hit rock bottom, especially when it comes to addicts. Now, oftentimes people, it needs to get that bad for some people for them to almost to be an explosion of that building or that problem so they can start again, or they just see so much greatness in front of them, like if I keep going that way, I'm going to get more of that sunshine, more of that positivity. But unfortunately, some people just don't have it bad enough. They have it, they're kind of comfortable, and they start to become comfortable with their problems, unfortunately, and they kind of get used to their problems because they kind of know it. Yeah, it's not great, but I'm not in love with my husband, but I feel comfortable with my husband. You know, I don't love my body, but I'm kind of comfortable in my body. I don't like my current job, but you know, it kind of pays the bills, and we get seduced by that comfort. And sometimes the most courageous thing that we could do is be like, I'm going to live a life where I'm going to be friggin' uncomfortable, and I'm going to keep going forward.
I call that comfortably uncomfortable. I've been saying that to people, and it takes a lot to get out of your comfort zone and make positive changes. I think also people like comparing themselves to others, and that motivates them to make changes, but it's not a good, positive, sustainable basis for change. You have to want it for yourself, right? Yeah. And with the advent of social media, it's easy to compare yourself to others and feel bad every day looking at somebody who you think has this great, perfect life when we all know that's not the truth.
Yeah, it's filters.
Exactly.
So I love that. Like, you know, I believe to be comfortable is like the kiss of death, and really is it just that simple, that we're just comfortable with the way we are, that nobody wants to get out of that comfort zone? Is it really just that simple?
Well, it's like when I do case studies of entrepreneurs, I'm sure you've experienced this as well. People like Richard Branson, people like Bill Gates, people like Steve Jobs, is they spent a lot of their time going against what the general public were thinking, what was possible. And they spent a lot of time in their life being very uncomfortable, having a lot of alone time, a lot of quiet time to develop something. They kind of had to pay their dues, so to speak, and they had to be in some dark places in order to do that, and not just be seduced by social media or what's on Netflix now, and actually go and do the work that needs to be done, even though it was really uncomfortable. And it's lovely being comfortable, but the unfortunate thing is when we're comfortable in the garden of comfort, no one grows, nothing grows, and if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah. So now we're talking about some people hitting rock bottom, right? So at that point they realize that they need to go the other way. Is that something that people need to hit first in order to make a change in their life?
I think that you can hit rock bottom, but I think you can artificially hit rock bottom as well. Because if I get a client, I don't necessarily want to make them suicidal if that's not their problem before they come to see me, because that would be unethical. But I want them plugged into their, although I get a bunch of money to help them with that, but you know, it's not ethically right. But I do want people, when they come to see me, to be plugged into their problem. We call it in neuro-linguistic programming or hypnosis as being associated, where they're feeling it, and they're feeling it every day. An example of this is a smoker. I often see a lot of people that want to quit smoking, but they're disassociated, where they know every reason why they should quit smoking, why it's bad for them. They logically know, but they're not associated into the problem. They're almost seeing themselves from a third eye, if you will. So a lot of my job is to get people associated into the problem, so then they can feel it. But feelings just come so they can go. So when people stop running away from whatever that fear is that they're distracting themselves with by eating too much, by too much social media, by too much Netflix, and when they're plugged into it, like, I better do something about this, and I better do something about it now because I'm feeling it.
Yeah. What about you, rock bottom?
Well, not always from my point of view. You know, I deal with fashion and beauty a lot. I will see a lot of people who, you know, hate their wardrobes or hate the way they look, and, you know, they're finally sick of it and want to make a change and realize that a lot of their self-confidence can be tied towards, you know, looking better, their outward appearance, and they finally want to do something. I've spoken to a lot of people also who It's as simple as they've gotten a ton of gift cards or cash for Christmas, and that just happens to be close to the new year. And that spurs them to make a positive change wardrobe-wise or beauty-wise. So they decide to, it's anything from small to large, from, I resolve to get a manicure every Friday. With the self-care thing, some people want to go to the spa once a month and take a breather. They want to start running, or, I've encountered people, their New Year's resolutions span the gamut from, I'm finally going to adopt a dog, or I'm finally going to get a tattoo, you name it.
So
It doesn't.
Is it good for society then, like just to have that ultimate reset button?
Yeah, I think it's a positive thing. Humans always, I feel most humans always strive to be better and always strive to seek a level of happiness in their lives, no matter how crummy a person they can be. I think for society as a whole, New Year's resolutions or goals are really good. A happy society, a happy person builds a happy community, which builds a happy society. So any way you look at it, how big the resolution can be or how small, it's a positive change to make. It's just breaking it down into, let's say, smaller chunks so that you're not failing halfway through January and you're not beating yourself up in, let's say, March when you've paid $2,000 for a really expensive gym membership and you're no longer going. I think it's all about being manageable with yourself and your time and your expectations and not being hard on yourself if you stumble. You can always pick yourself back up in June and hit that reset button then.
Well, this is what we want to get into a little bit of some of the hypnosis and see how that works. We have about 30 seconds to break. But we have a really amazing subject here, guys. How to keep your New Year's resolutions. We have great experts here. I think it's going to be a great show. More after this. Welcome back. We have a very interesting show. We're talking about how to keep your New Year's resolutions. Are they good? Are they bad? December 31st, someone says, this will be my last cigarette. And then somehow they fall off the wagon. Is it fall off the wagon or fall on the wagon?
I think it's fall off the wagon in North America, but in England, I think it's the other way around. So I always get confused.
I always get confused. So we have great experts here. One, a hypnotist, professional hypnotist. And is that the way to go? Should we just go to sleep and just let if somebody else programs us?
You should totally come see a hypnotist, but hypnosis is not the same as sleep. See, I don't make you sleep.
Okay.
When it kind of comes to hypnosis, for example, it's kind of like, I know everyone's been wondering, what is this? Yeah. This expandable. So, for example, someone, a smoker, after who, like a lot of people, New Year's resolution is to quit smoking, right? So, an example is the smoker has their first puff of a cigarette, let's say when they're a teenager, 13 or 14, the very first puff. And sort of the brain that's responsible for addictions, the amygdala, fires off like that. It goes, oh, this is amazing. Now, generally, most people start coughing and vomiting and feeling very awful the very first puff of a cigarette. So if they listen to their unconscious mind or their amygdala, it kind of shuts down, they never do it again. Yeah. But when we take the second puff of the cigarette or the third puff of the cigarette, the unconscious mind says, well, he's not listening to me, and you kind of start to get some enjoyment out of it. So what happens at that point is a bunch of things get in the way of your amygdala shutting down and just going back to a normal way of being. For example, the smoker might say, well, hey, when I smoke, it makes me feel calm, or it controls my appetite, or smoking's addictive and there's no way that I can stop it. So when your unconscious mind or your amygdala goes to shut down, the part of your brain that's responsible for addictions, it can't quite shut down because there's these things inside that prevent it from shutting down. So it doesn't matter how many patches you use, how many e-cigarettes that you use, or how much talk therapy you do, as long as that crap, technical word, is in there, it never goes away. So in the hypnosis, what I do is just basically help people to pull out all their reasons and excuses for keeping that model together.
So those are the things that they thought was making them feel good.
Exactly, or the beliefs that I can't stop it. So when we delete all of those or take them out, it just essentially shuts down, which is technical malfunction here, like that, there you go. This is live TV, folks. And then the problem ceases to be. It's the same with the person who has weight issues or the person who gives themselves anxiety or depression. It's about pulling out those things inside so that model collapses on of itself so they can have a lot more healthy and harmonious life.
Now, can anybody be hypnotized?
Totally, but we do need three things. Three things need to be in place. Number one, your IQ needs to be above 70, which means if you're severely developmentally delayed, it's probably not the way to go. Number two...
So Trump, we can't... I'm just joking.
We don't want to get into Trump. We don't want to get into Trump because it's become controversial now. This show will go in a completely different direction.
I'm just joking. But above 70. So that's like, what's the average?
The average is probably about 100, 110. So basically, pretty most people are above normal intelligence to be able to do it. Number two, you have to want it, meaning you're not being forced to be there. There's a gun to your head. Your wife, your husband is making you stop smoking or over it. You have to want to be there, but for yourself. Can it benefit those around you? Totally, but you have to want to change. And number three is the big one. Are you ready? You have to be able to follow simple instructions. So if I said, Alfonso, I'm not going to hypnotize you, don't worry. But if I said, Alfonso, just close your eyes for a minute, and you closed your eyes, that's fine.
So you mean if I were to resist?
If you're like, whoa, hey, I don't want to do this, my thing, well, why are you here? Why have you paid all this money? And why are you taking out this time? I once had a client, and I used to spend the first 30 minutes of a first session explaining what hypnosis was and what it wasn't. Now I can do it in one sentence. But it came to the point where I'd explained what hypnosis was for 30 minutes to this guy, taken away all the myths and misconceptions, and I'm like, okay, so now it's time to hypnotize you. Just go ahead and close your eyes. And he's like this. So I'm thinking inside myself, is he messing with me? He's paid me, he told me, he convinced me he wanted to be here. Maybe it's my thick English accent. Maybe he didn't understand me. So I said, so go ahead and close your eyes. And he's still staring at me like this. I'm like, what's going on here? So I said, so why are you not closing your eyes? He's like, I thought you were going to make me close your eyes. So I poked him in the eyes, he closed his eyes, and hypnosis was fine after that. But the moral of the story is you have to be able to follow simple instructions, like close your eyes. And if you can do that, Absolutely, you can be hypnotized, because oftentimes my job is to dehypnotize people, because the person who's eating too much, doing too much cocaine, smoking too many cigarettes, or does anxiety or depression is already in a trance. It's just a trance that's hurting them in some form or fashion. My job is to break that trance, pull them back into reality if such a thing exists, and bring something else up into their mind they can do instead.
So I like that. I like that a lot. People can, you just by simple programming, you can now start getting closer to the things that you want. Now, are they still going to have some of those demons come back and try to, because obviously when someone is, for example, overweight, they've built a whole infrastructure of, people had to have supported this.
Yep.
So those people are still there.
Yeah. We call it secondary gain. And whatever problem that you have, I'm not saying you consciously are getting something from it, like the person who's overweight or the person who has huge anxiety, depression. I'm not saying they're consciously sitting around their coffee table saying, I'm going to make myself depressed today because all my friends are going to show me love and attention and I'm going to get money from the government. I'm not saying that. But on some secondary gain level, we say in hypnosis and psychology, they're getting something from it. And with hypnosis, we have to find whatever positive benefits they're getting from their problem, and we all do, and be able to swap those out so they can get those same positive benefits, but by doing something that's more positive and advantageous. An example is the smoker who feels calm, safe, and it controls their appetite hypothetically. We might swap that out and they might just drink more water. So they get those same feelings by doing an action, but they're not killing themselves anymore.
Okay. We're helping a lot of people here. The numbers are, the number is 613-728-1001, 728-1001. Ask your questions. We're changing lives here. Whether hypnosis or not, where do most people go wrong with resolutions?
I was just going to say that, like I said before, people choose resolutions. They don't sit down and consider what will make them happy in the long run. They want to lose 100 pounds and maybe in 3 months, and that's not feasible. Or they've been smoking for 20 years, a pack a day, and they want to quit cold turkey or something. You need to sit down and think, is this going to work? Is it achievable? Another thing is people make resolutions in their minds, and then after a while, they just disappear into the ether. Like goals, you should be writing them down every day and sticking them somewhere where you see them every single day, so you're reminding yourself of what you want to achieve. Also, people, they also compare themselves to other people, and they just make resolutions that don't make sense for them. They see somebody doing really well at something and they want the same sort of thing, but it doesn't necessarily work for them. So I always say to people, sit down, think of a resolution. If it's a big one, like you want a Chanel bag, it costs $8,000, but you don't make enough money to buy that, or you can't save because you're a terrible saver or something. Maybe buying a brand new one isn't for you. Look for a vintage one or buy something pre-loved. Just break it down a little, and then you don't feel bad about yourself. Something more attainable. And if it's a large goal, like I want to buy a house or I want to travel the world, break it down into milestones to get there over the course of a long period of time. Lastly, people make resolutions and they don't consider the value of maybe shared resolutions or building a network of support, kind of like the person who's overeating and has that support to help them overeat and not get better. So let's say you want to become a runner or you want to train for a marathon. Maybe doing so by yourself is hard. Enlist a friend or your husband or wife or somebody else who's a great runner who motivates you to get out and do your training several times a week and maybe change your eating habits and things like that. That outward help is really, really important and really beneficial to achieving your goal, your resolution.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Where do people go wrong?
They think they're broken. A lot of people come to see me and they think they're broken. Like, Luke, fix me. I'm broken. I'm depressed. I'm fat. I'm obese. I'm anxious. I'm broken. People are not broken. And I always give people this metaphor. This is called Peppa Pig right here. Don't worry, I'm not getting a kickback by whoever invented Peppa Pig, although they're worth millions.
It feels
now,
like I'm at
maybe
Mr.
billions.
Rogers' show.
But here's the interesting thing, Peppa Pig right here, right? If I hold Peppa Pig's hand there and there, she sings. Amazing, right? So Alfonso, if you hold her hand there and push that button, as I'm doing with this hand, she should sing. But she doesn't sing. Touch my finger. Let go of my finger. Touch my finger. Let go of my finger. Touch my finger. Let go.
That? Yeah.
I use that because this is essentially a battery. And when we're not touching, the circuit doesn't get complete. But when I'm touching her, the circuit comes complete. So what I have to tell people is there's nothing wrong with you. But I like metaphors. I don't know if such a thing called energy exists. But I like to play along with the metaphor. And the metaphor is your energy, your electricity. There's nothing wrong with you, but there's a block somewhere in your circuitry. And all we're going to do together is not fix you because you ain't broken, but we're going to take away that block so you work, grab around, you work perfectly. Because there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing that I'm going to teach you don't already know. It's about getting rid of some of the crap, technical words, some of the limiting beliefs you have and negative emotions. So that circuitry, that energy inside your body works optimally, whether you want to lose weight, quit smoking, get rid of anxiety, or depressing yourself.
Wow. So what are the things that are blocking some people?
Usually negative emotions. The big four negative emotions are anger, sadness, guilt, and fear. And every other negative emotion comes from one of those. Like frustration will come from anger, feeling down or low will come from sadness. So once they're cleared up in someone's neurology from the past, because obviously we can't go into the future to know stuff that you're going to feel guilty about in the future, it's kind of like getting the cache tray or the cookie tray on your laptop or your computer. Because you know, if you're on your computer for too long and all the files get very buggy and that cache tray gets filled, or cookies, you need to delete some files. So that's kind of what we do with hypnosis, is we delete the junk files that have been making your system, your head top computer, buggy, slow and not operating right. Get rid of those and put in some more positive decisions, like I'm not good enough, which most people share, deleting crap like that holds people back. And oftentimes when those blocks are taken out of the way, the future's a lot easier to go, as long as you know the direction you want to go in. Because the only thing that stops someone achieving their goal is all the reasons and excuses they tell themselves they can't do it. I'm not good enough, no one will ever love me, or I'm going to feel too sad. Once you get rid of all those and you know the direction you're going, it becomes a lot more simpler. Not necessarily easier, but a lot more simpler.
Wow. Okay, guys, this show is worth millions. 613-728-1001. More after this. List.
3 seconds to open it.
And we are back. Fantastic show. A lot of people were calling during the break. We have someone on the phone, but we have a new expert here with us, Natalie Riviere, registered holistic nutritionist and fitness expert.
Yes.
How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Thank you for coming. Are you going to show us how to get fit? How to stick with it?
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll go to the caller first. Melanie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. So you have a question for us.
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you, Alfonso, for the show. Like, I like watching it. Like, it's pretty always interesting. I was curious when I think it's Luke who was talking about like the fear and how the brains work. So one of my part of the resolution this year is like I want to travel more. Like I want to go to Hawaii, London, Paris, but I'm afraid of playing and flying and go to the airport. So I was just wondering, and it brings me like a lot of anxiety to think about it. So I was just wondering how hypnosis can help and like what we can do about it.
Well, first of all, I
feel
her pain. When I get on a plane, I'm just like, right? So, so how can we help her?
Yeah, so hey, thanks, Melanie. Yeah, so hypnosis is great because fears and phobias are, again, we'll go back to this, it's the amygdala, it's the part of the brain that's responsible for fears or phobia. So what happens one day is unconsciously, something will fire off, i.e. we might be in a plane and we might hear a bang at the same time. The unconscious mind links both of those together because it has the intellect of about a 5-year-old. It doesn't hear the bang anymore, it just thinks, oh, plane, scary. So then your amygdala fires off. So every time you're on an aeroplane, it fires off. So you're in panic mode at that point. So what we help to do in hypnosis...
I've been there.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do in hypnosis and meridian therapy is essentially just take out the emotion, take out the emotional charge in there so you can be around aeroplanes, you can be up in the sky. You know that you're there. It's not about changing your memory, but there's no emotional charge because we basically upgrade the technology in your brain to realize that it's actually not the plane that you're scared of, it was something else that happened that you deleted probably when you were very young and you didn't realize it. But once you take that away, because the thinking of a 5 or a 6-year-old where most fears and phobias are created is very different from a 30-year-old. So when you go back and you judge how a 5 or a 6-year-old is with a 30-year-old's mind, you're like, oh, well, that person under my bed wasn't really a person. It was just my T-shirt. Or that monster in the closet wasn't really a monster. It was just a shadow of my shirt that was hanging up. So it's kind of about upgrading the technology. It's very quickly to do, anywhere from about 10 minutes to an hour to get rid of that phobia like that.
Natalie, have you had fears?
Sure, I'm human. I've had fears. Not of airplanes, though. I'm happy to travel.
So what is a fear that you had that you overcame?
Oh, that's a good question. A fear that I've overcome. You're getting me on the spot here. Can't think of one.
Melanie, where are we going? Melanie?
Oh, yes.
Where are we going?
Hawaii.
I'm going.
Where are we going?
So I'm going maybe like to Hawaii or London or Paris. I'm thinking like some abroad destination that include an ocean.
So is it a good idea to start visualizing yourself there? Right? Is that something that is that part of what you do?
So let me tell you how phobias and anxiety are done. We all do them exactly the same. Whether you're scared of clowns, whether you're scared of aeroplanes, whether you're scared of heights, you do it unconsciously and you do it faster than that, okay? What people do with anxiety and phobia is just a bigger version of an anxiety. You can't have a phobia without anxiety, but you can be anxious without a phobia. So what happens is unconsciously people go out to a future event that hasn't happened. It can't because it's the future. They imagine it going horribly wrong and catastrophize it, and then start to flood their body with all those brain chemicals like cortisol and fight or flight adrenaline, so they start to feel horrible about it now and make it almost more inclined that it's going to happen. But they do it faster than that. Wow. People who do anxiety and phobias do it so good, and when I say they do it so good, again, it's unconscious. I'm not saying they're sitting around a table plotting what they're doing. It happens like that. But people think it's happening to them. It's not happening to them. It's something that you do, but you've done it so long, you do it so well that it's about undoing it. So really it's about just changing. Yeah, it's about changing and focusing on how you're going to feel when you get into Hawaii or when you get to Paris, those amazing things you're going to do, but it's more than that. There's a lot more that goes in. We have to quiet down the brain first.
Melanie, for how many years has this resolution been on your list?
I feel like every year I'm taking like an abroad trip, and it's always pushed back because when each time I have like plenty of books and I visit plenty of websites, but each time that I try to purchase the plane tickets, I'm just like, I cannot do this. And I get stuck into the moment, and like my anxiety come up, and I'm just like, what if the plane crash? And like all the stories coming up in my head about taking that plane.
So it's the story, right? So I guess we could change the story.
You could change the story.
Because her story is like the plane's going to crash. She's already created a whole scenario that doesn't even exist yet.
But what it is a big part, I do a lot of work with people in their story, and most of our stories are horrible. That's what keep us stuck. But also people that have phobias and anxiety, their amygdala fires off. So you can be affirming stuff all to yourself, but if the brain chemical of adrenaline, fight or flight, is going off because your body, your amygdala thinks you're in danger, we need to do some stuff to flood your brain with different brain chemicals. So there's little things you can do. One very, very simple thing is actually just taking two fingers like so and just gently, like an infinity sign, just tracing them over your forehead, making sure to cross in the middle. And what happens after about 20 strokes of doing this is it floods your mind, it floods your body with oxytocin, which is the brain chemical for making you feel loved, for making you feel calm, and for making you feel safe. So that when your body, your brain secretes oxytocin, it cannot secrete cortisol and adrenaline at the same time. It literally switches off the chemical, so your brain can't do the same thing and make you feel anxious.
I think that's going to help Melanie a lot, and even a lot of people out there. Continue with the calls, my friends. 613-728-1001. I want to know about Natalie. How did you become this nutritionist, this holistic nutritionist and fitness expert? Well, I see the guns, but what's the story? What got you here?
Well, there's two separate stories. Like the one that led me to fitness and then the one that led me to nutrition are actually separate. And the one that led me to fitness was first. Never been good at sports. To this day, people still look at me and say, ooh, we want her on our team, tall, muscular. No, you do not want me on your team. I'm terrible at sports, but in grade 10 or 11 gym class, I signed up for this gym class, and it turned out there were only 9 people in the class. So the teacher was able to do all kinds of different things with us, and one day she took us into the weight room. It was tiny high school gym, So she took us into the weight room, and I realized that I could do activities that were individual. I didn't need to see this ball flying at me and have to have hand-eye coordination to catch it. I could progress at my own speed and work at my own level. So I loved it. I started running and doing all these individual things. And then when I was 16, I called the YMCA and said, I'd like to become a fitness instructor. And they said, well, you need to be 18. So lo and behold, I called back at 18. And I took the course and have been doing that ever since. So then, here I am, Miss Fitness Instructor, working out every day. I'm like the healthy one among my friends, always eating well. And at the age of 25, something goes wrong with my health. Doesn't make any sense. So I went to many doctors and specialists, and nobody could really tell me what was wrong. It wasn't anything very serious. Actually, it was high cortisol levels due to stress. And so in some of there wasn't even Google back then, but whatever I was searching on the internet, I ended up seeing the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. So I thought to myself, that's it. I'm going to go learn how to fix myself. So I went to that school to study nutrition, and I loved it so much that I bought the place. So I've owned it for 12 years now.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So is it just me, or I've just, seen the scenario where you are extremely busy January 1st with phone calls. People want to get fit, they want to exercise, they want to lose that weight, they want to lose the pouch, and all these things that people talk about December 31st that they're gonna do. They give you a call, you get started with them, and then all of a sudden you can't reach them somewhere along. Is it February or is it January?
Usually sooner than that.
Wow. Yeah, so where how do people, number one, get started, but how do people stick with it?
Well, I'll go back to some of the things that have already been said, and that is, first of all, setting a goal that's realistic for you. If you have 4 kids, you have a husband and a dog and a full-time job, and you say you're going to work out 2 hours a day, 7 days a week, It's unlikely, unless you're going to start waking up 2 hours earlier every morning and sneaking out before everyone's awake. So, some people have that mindset where they're go big or go home and they can do it. But most people need to set something that's more realistic for your life, because this is something you want to maintain if it's that important to you. So if you're setting something that's totally crazy, it has to be realistic. That's the first thing.
It needs to be within, like, you could reach for it or have it or
so
whatever.
People always tell me that, I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm like, okay, whoa. Are you really? Like, let's get real. Oh no, this day I work late, or this day I have to take my kids to sports. Okay, then those 2 days are off the table. Let's look at the other days.
So how important is the why? For example, somebody might want to quit smoking, want to lose weight. How important is having a reason? Like, why are you doing this?
Why is great. Why is very important, because there was a book called As a Man Thinketh, I believe, by Viktor Frankl, and it was based on him taken into a concentration camp, and imagine the atrocities that were happening to people back there. And he was a psychiatrist or a psychologist at the time. I believe it was in the Second World War. And what he noticed, the difference between the people that could survive the terrible time there versus the people that would essentially commit suicide, was the people that gave a reason for their suffering were able to somehow seemingly be able to deal with all the horrible atrocities that were happening around them, to give their suffering a reason, that they're suffering for a reason, there's a higher cause. And those people, the people that did escape, the people that did end up escaping or leaving, their psychology, their mental health was they were able to get more of an even kill in their life and balance, even though this terrible atrocity had happened to them, because they gave their suffering a reason. So why is really important. It's that fuel that's in the fire or the tank.
It keeps. What about why for you? Is that something?
Yeah, it's the same thing. And what's been said before, like you're saying, if it's your husband or your wife that told you, you should do this, you're not going to stick to it. It has to be something that resonates with you, something that sits with you, that's driving you. The other might last, but not for very long.
Yeah, no, I'm a big believer in why, and it has to be something really significant. It just can't, someone's car breaks down. That's the last time I'm going to drive that piece of junk again. So that can be very powerful for people. That's why, it's not so much about what we want to do is the why. The number to call is 613-728-1001. We're having a great conversation, how to keep those New Year's resolutions. More after this. We are back. Amazing show. We're talking about how to keep those New Year's resolutions. A lot of us, December 31st, we said we're gonna do, we're gonna lose weight, or we're gonna, quit smoking, or we're gonna read a book, whatever it is. For some reason, we give up. So we have experts here to help us along the way. We're talking Luke and Natalie, and the question that I had is, that I want people to know is, how do you help specifically? Well, I'll ask Luke first and then Natalie. But how do you specifically help with people staying on track?
Yeah, so everyone that comes to see me, generally they're stuck in some form or fashion. They're stuck because they know they want to quit smoking, lose weight, get rid of their anxiety, or stop peeing the bed, whatever the problem is. But they're stuck because it's not that I'm going to give them any more knowledge about what they need to do. They already know this is causing me pain and trauma in my life. I want to get rid of it. What my job is to come in, and they did a study with psychology where it would take 600 sessions to potentially get a result in somebody versus hypnosis, which was 6 sessions. This study was about 30 years old, but hypnosis is even more powerful than that now. So it's essentially, when people come to see me, I'm not interested in hearing people's stories of why they're broken or why they're messed up. I'm like, go see a psychologist or go see a counsellor. If you want me to help you to get rid of that so you can go on with your life without that problem, then I can help you. So it's when people get to that point where they've had enough, and I work quite rapidly with people where they might see me for 1 session, it might be for 3 sessions. I'm not interested in taking somebody's money for 4 years, seeing them 3 times a week where they feel a little bit better. It's like, no, you don't have the problem anymore. So we just go in and just do some stuff rapidly, and I don't need to regress people or know why they think they're messed up. It's like, you're doing something that's stupid, that's hurting you, let's stop doing it. If you're listening to a song that's horrible and you keep playing the same CD over and over again, my job is to come in there, take that CD and just break it and give you a new CD that you can play, so that internal voice inside your head is a lot more loving and forgiving and steers you on the right track.
It's almost like a handoff, right? I mean, so they come to you, and then now they're ready for Natalie. So how do you help your clients?
Well, the biggest thing for me is that people, both with fitness and nutrition, it's the same. People know what they need to do. So one of the problems is that people are hoping I'm going to give them an easier answer. They're hoping
the magic pill.
Exactly.
Magic wand.
Yeah. They're hoping that I'm going to tell them something more simple than you have to stop eating sugar and all the things that they don't want to give up, right? But the bottom line is that, and the other thing is that people will say to me all the time, well, I don't know where to start, there's all this stuff. All this stuff is just fancy marketing. We're now led to believe that you need to eat some berry that grows in the Amazon jungle. You got to get it here, freeze dried, and that's what's going to make you healthy.
Work.
And that's what's going to make you healthy. No, it's never changed. People are always telling me, well, nutritional science is always changing. No, it's not. We haven't evolved. Nothing's changed. We still just need to eat real food. Simple as that. You want to eat all protein, you want to eat all carb, you want to eat all fat. I don't really care. You just need to eat real food. It's as simple as that.
What do you mean exactly by that? Is it like natural food, like organic food?
Not necessarily organic, but things that are not in a package. If it doesn't expire till the year 2027, it's not food. So these things that rot, fruits, vegetables, meat, whole grains, these things that are not packaged, processed, altered in any way, just plain old normal food. So that's never changed, and it never will. How you want to decorate that and put it on your plate is up to you, but bottom line, it's never changed. So if people are looking to me, oh, well, what about this latest thing I've heard, or this latest thing, I don't even care. I don't even keep up anymore, because that's not the answer. The answer's never changed. Keep it simple, eat well, eat in proper portions and moderation, and you'll be fine. It's as simple as that. And then the same thing when it comes to exercise. People say, well, I should do this, I should do that. You should just do what you like. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. So if you think,
it needs to be in alignment with you.
Yeah, if you think you should go to the gym and lift weights because that's the thing, or you think you should do CrossFit because that's the latest thing, or spinning or yoga or whatever it is, no, it doesn't matter. You just need to move your body. So pick the thing that you like, then you'll actually do it. And honestly, you're getting benefit physiologically and to all the different things inside your body as long as you're moving it. It doesn't really matter if you're on a spin bike or in a hot yoga room. It doesn't matter.
Well, it seems simple. Like I come see you, and then boom, you tell me where I need to go. But why don't people just stick with it? Like, your business is booming in January, and why don't people just stick with it? Do you have any statistics on the kind of the people that see you January and then don't see you anymore?
I just know the gym membership statistics. So if you join the gym any month of the year other than January, the chance that you'll stick with it is 10%.
Wow.
And if you join in January, it's 3%.
Unless I see Luke.
Well, that is the issue, is that people are just giving me these excuses, these things that are stuck in their head, and they just need to get rid of that and say no. I'm moving forward.
So have you had any? And I want to talk about some success stories, but mostly in your realm of work, where you just help someone stick with it, and you just said, no, you're just giving me excuses right now. Like, let's get to this.
Yeah, I'm very much like that. So I actually lose a lot of clients because of that mentality. But why are you going to waste your money and my time? If you're not ready, you're not ready. So I've told many people, you're not ready to make the change. So you know where to find me. Come back when you are. And sometimes they're offended, but many times they come back.
Thank you.
Months or years later.
Wow.
And say, yeah, and now I'm ready. You were right.
Look, any success stories?
Yeah, we'll call him Carl. That's not really his name to protect him, all right? And Carl was a client that I had, and in another life, I used to be a fitness trainer. And Carl had met me at my gym, and he was one of my clients. He's like, oh, you're a hypnotist as well. Can you help me quit smoking? He was an Eastern European guy with a very thick accent. I'm like, this is not my ideal client. I went, this guy's going to be a bit of a nightmare. But I'm like, sure, I can help you. So he came in a couple of days later for a stop smoking session, and I generally would do one session to help people quit smoking. He came in, and we're just about to induce hypnosis, if you will, and he's like, oh, just before you do hypnosis, I just want to tell you, in the thickest, most European accent you've ever heard, I don't believe in any of this stuff. I'm like, neither do I, but can you follow some instructions? He's like, sure. I'm like, close your eyes. So we closed his eyes, we did the whole process, and I'm like, oh, this is not going to work, because he's not into it, right? So he was going away for a week back home in Eastern Europe. No, actually, he was going away to a cabin where he used to always smoke. So I wasn't going to see him for another week in doing fitness training. So he comes in a week later for his fitness session, and he arrives 10 minutes early, and I'm doing my workout. He comes up to me, he's like, can I speak to you? I'm like, yeah, we're going to start in 10 minutes. He's like, no, now. I'm like, oh no, this going to have a horror story. He's a big fella as well. He's like, in your office. So I went into my office and closed the door. He's like, what did you do to me? I'm like, pardon? He's like, what the F did you do to me? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, listen, I know none of this stuff works. I was just playing along. It was all nonsense. So last Thursday, I'm at the cabin. I'm like, I'm going to prove that this is just hogwash. This is nonsense. So I lit up a cigarette, and before it came to my mouth, I threw it halfway across the cottage, nearly burnt the whole place down. What the F did you do to me? I'm like, are you smoking? He's like, no. I'm like, do you want to smoke? He's like, no. I'm like, well, there's no such thing as hypnosis, is there? And he never smoked again, as far as I know.
Well, you know what? Like, we talked about all the things that people want to take out. I don't want to smoke. I want to lose weight. But what can we put in? You know, because some people say, you know what, like, can you make me a billionaire?
Yeah.
Or can you make me this, like a magnet or to women or what like what can we do here with this?
Let's not get on that subject.
What can we do here with this thing?
So here's the thing. When someone comes to me, let's say they want to make more money, right? They want to be more successful. I'm like, well, I'm not a millionaire yet. I'm not a billionaire. I can't tell you how to manipulate the stock exchange or to buy properties. It's not my expertise.
Yeah.
Hire someone who's strong in that field. But what I can do is, here's where you are. Here's like today. And here's, I want to be a billionaire. I can't get you to be a billionaire. I don't have the blueprint to be a billionaire. But the only thing that's going to stop you once you have a plan, and there's many plans to make lots of money, is the only thing that's going to stop you is all your reasons and excuses that get in the way. So how I come in and help people is I help to clear all those reasons and excuses. So as long as they've got a blueprint by a financial consultant or someone who knows their stuff, so to speak, it's a lot easier for them to get to. Because the only thing that's going to get them off the track, once they've got an advisor, is all their reasons and excuses that they've been playing yo-yo with their whole life.
So if I want, a sexy body, for example,
yes,
you would just put something in, you would program it, so I would just automatically go and see Natalie.
Well, here's the thing. Only she paid me, and then we'd have like this whole kind of thing. But here's the thing. I don't believe, like Natalie said earlier on, that you're broken. I don't believe that I can tell you or Natalie can tell you anything more than you need to know to get in great shape. However, it's not that people need to know more, is that they need to do what they know and do it consistently. That's what I help people do. I'm not about giving you any more information. Go on Google for free. I'm expensive, but I'm here to help you get rid of those reasons and excuses so you do what you already know. Because you're already perfect. You're just blocked.
How do you change people's mindset?
Exactly the same way. Like, I can't force you to do something or force you to change. It has to be you. If you want clarity on things or to understand how things work, like Luke's saying, go ask the financial advisor. Okay, I can tell you the path to get there, but I'm not doing it for you. You're the one who has to prepare. And preparation, yeah, that's a big thing. When people want to change their diet, for example, well then you can't start tomorrow. You need to start the day after you actually go to the grocery store and buy all the right things that you need. Otherwise, you go home, you're starving, you open up your fridge or your cupboards, what do you have? The same crap that you were eating before. So you have to be prepared. You have to plan and prepare. Otherwise, you won't reach those goals.
You see, an hour just went like this. We only have a few minutes. I want to leave the audience with some tips, some tangible things that they can, start doing right away. What are some of the tips? Just give me like one tip, one good strong tip that people can use and run with it.
Move. Not just your body but your mind. Do something different, because if you're at home and you're sitting on your couch and you're wanting to attract your ideal mate, or you want to make $1 million, or you want to have a perfect body, you got to do something. So switch off your computer, switch off your social media, get the hell out of the house and do something. Just do something to start moving in the direction you want to go.
But always watch this show.
Always, yeah, totally. 8 o'clock on Wednesdays, right?
Yeah, and then afterwards. So what are some tips?
My biggest tip is to always add something in rather than take something away. So taking something away, like was said before, take away the chocolate, take away this, take away that. That's hard. So don't always focus on taking away. How about just adding something healthy in? That's not so hard. Yeah. So as you add things in, it's actually going to just gently replace those things anyways. It will happen naturally.
I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show, Luke, Natalie, and Dominique earlier on. It's been a great show, guys. You know what? Keep with you. If you have goals, keep with it. We'll see you next time.